Some people don't destroy their lives in one dramatic moment. They do it quietly, in small loops they can't seem to escape. They swear they'll change on Monday, they suffer through Tuesday, and by Friday night the old habit is back, stronger, hungrier, almost offended that it was challenged. You've seen it, maybe you've lived it. The drink that returns after a stressful day, the sugar that just happens when your mind feels empty, the scrolling that steals hours and then leaves you with that heavy, dirty feeling of wasted time, the promise you make to yourself in the mirror, and the betrayal that follows 2 days later. There was a man named Adrian who didn't look like a tragedy. He looked like an ordinary person carrying too much. 42 years old, a decent job, a wife who tried to keep hope alive, and a son who was old enough to notice when his father wasn't really there. Adrian wasn't cruel, he wasn't lazy, he wasn't weak, he was exhausted. He lived in a rhythm that felt like survival. Waking before dawn, commuting, deadlines, small humiliations at work that didn't sound like humiliations when you told them out loud, and then coming home to a house that deserved his best version, while he only had leftovers. His bad habit wasn't loud at first. It began as a reward. A little something to soften the edges. Late-night snacks while the television filled the room with other people's lives. A drink to turn his brain off. A routine that looked harmless from the outside, because it wasn't a catastrophe. It was comfort. And comfort is the most dangerous thing when you're desperate. He tried to change the way people always try. He attacked himself. He declared war. One Monday, he emptied the cabinets, threw away snacks, bought a blender, signed up for a gym, downloaded a productivity app, and wrote a list of rules so strict it read like punishment. No sugar, no alcohol, no junk. Wake at 5, run every day, cold showers, meditate, read 20 pages. He wanted to become a different person in a single sunrise. For 3 days he felt like a hero. Then real life arrived the way it always does, without permission. A sick child, a stressful meeting, bills, a sleepless night, a fight over something small that wasn't small, and suddenly the rules didn't feel inspiring. They felt like chains. The blender sat clean and unused. The gym bag stayed by the door like a silent accusation. And on the 4th night, Adrian opened the fridge as if his hands were being moved by someone else. He drank, he ate, he scrolled, and by the time he looked up, midnight had become a verdict. You failed again. The worst part wasn't the habit. It was the story he told himself after, the voice that came with it. You always do this. You're the kind of person who can't change. You'll never be consistent. It's your genetics. It's your stress. It's your schedule. It's your age. Adrian learned to accept defeat the way people accept bad weather. Not with words, but with resignation. A slow surrender that looks like normal life. The moment that changed him wasn't a heart attack or a dramatic collapse in public. It was something smaller and more brutal because it was quiet. It happened on a Sunday afternoon. His son, Leo, had been building a model airplane on the living room floor. Tiny pieces, tiny instructions, tiny patience. Leo asked his father to help hold a piece while he glued it. Adrian said, "In a minute," without looking away from the screen. The minute became 10, then 20. Leo tried again, softer, like he was learning not to bother people who were already tired. "Dad, can you just hold it for 10 seconds? Adrian sighed, an exhausted, heavy sigh that felt like a door closing. "Not right now, buddy." Leo didn't argue. He simply stood up, walked to his room, and closed the door. Adrian saw it from the corner of his eye and felt that subtle sting, the one that comes when you realize you're teaching your child who you are. Not with speeches, but with presence. And he hated himself in that moment, the way people hate themselves when they recognize a pattern they can't break. That night, while the house slept, Adrian sat at the kitchen table in the dark. There was a glass in front of him, half full of water. He stared at it like it was an insult. He knew what to do. He had read books. He had watched videos. He had listened to podcasts. He had information pouring out of his ears. And yet the habit remained. Because the problem wasn't knowledge. The problem was implementation. He could describe the perfect life, but he couldn't live one Tuesday in it. He found a small notebook in a drawer and began writing down the last 10 times he tried to change. Each entry looked the same. Day 1, strict rules. Day 3, strong motivation. Day 5, stress. Day 7, collapse. He underlined the same word every time, collapse. And then he wrote something else beneath it, a sentence that came from somewhere deeper than the mind. I keep trying to climb the entire mountain in one leap. A week later, Adrian sat across from a man named Kenji Mori in a quiet community center that smelled like paper and tea. Kenji wasn't a doctor in the way Adrian expected. He wasn't wearing a white coat. There were no charts, no lectures, no noise. He was older, maybe in his late 60s, with calm eyes and hands that moved like they had all the time in the world. Adrian had come because a coworker told him, if anyone understands change, it's that guy. He doesn't motivate you. He rebuilds you. Adrian tried to explain his problem like most people do, by listing symptoms: the weight, the cravings, the procrastination, the tiredness, the broken promises. Kenji listened without judgment, and when Adrian finished, he didn't say, "You need discipline." He didn't say, "You need a plan." He asked a question so simple it landed like a stone in water. How many times have you tried to become a new person overnight? Adrian laughed without humor. 2 many. Kenji nodded. Then you're not failing because you're weak. You're failing because you're violent with yourself. Sudden change feels inspiring, but it triggers fear. Fear triggers resistance. Resistance triggers relapse. He leaned forward just slightly. Would you accept a system that feels too small to matter? Adrian wanted to roll his eyes. He wanted something dramatic. A blueprint, a meal plan, a program, a secret. But he was also tired of losing. Yes, he said. Anything. Kenji's voice stayed gentle, which made the next words almost insulting. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, drink a full glass of water before you touch your phone. Nothing else. Do it for 14 days. Adrian blinked. That's it? That is it. What about food? Exercise, my habits, the late nights? Kenji didn't flinch. Keep your life the same. Just add the glass of water before the phone. That's your only promise. Adrian felt heat rise in his chest. He had expected transformation, not a bedtime story. How does water fix my life? Kenji's eyes stayed steady. It doesn't. The water is not the medicine. The promise is the medicine. If you can keep a tiny promise, you begin to rebuild trust with yourself. Without that trust, every big plan becomes just another betrayal. Adrian left that room irritated. He almost didn't try because the task felt childish. But that night, he set a glass beside the bed anyway. Not because he believed in it, but because he had nothing left to believe in. The next morning, the alarm sounded and his hand reached for the phone like it always did. But the glass sat there, silent, waiting. He stared at it for a second, and something inside him whispered, "Just do it." He drank. It took 5 seconds. It didn't change his body. It didn't erase his cravings. It didn't fix his stress. But it did something stranger. It created a clean moment, a small victory before the day could take one away. On day 3, he almost forgot. On day 6, he felt ridiculous. On day 9, he noticed something. The first thing he thought when he woke up was not the phone, but the water. The habit was moving. Not his addiction, his identity. By day 14, he walked back into the community center and sat across from Kenji with a look Adrian hadn't worn in years. Not pride, not excitement, something quieter, self-respect. "I did it," Adrian said. Kenji smiled, not like a coach celebrating, but like a craftsman seeing a foundation hold. "Good. You just met Kaizen, without knowing its name." Microscopic improvement. Change so small it doesn't awaken fear. Adrian waited, because this was usually the part where the program got intense. Kenji's next step was still small. Keep the water. Now when you eat, serve yourself less than you want. Not half, not a strict number, just slightly less. And wait 20 minutes before deciding you need more. Adrian frowned. That sounds like dieting. It sounds like patience, Kenji corrected. Your body learns slowly, your mind lies quickly. Adrian left again, still skeptical, but something in him had changed. He wasn't chasing a miracle anymore. He was testing a system. And systems, unlike motivation, do not care what you feel. They work because they are repeated. That night, as his family ate dinner, Adrian served himself a little less than usual. The old hunger rose like a protest. The old voice screamed, "You deserve more. You've had a hard day." He ate slowly, then waited. 10 minutes passed, then 20, and the hunger faded. Not because he resisted heroically, but because it had never been real hunger. It was habit hunger, the kind that comes from conditioning, not need. 2 weeks later, he had not transformed. He had not become a new man. But something had shifted in the atmosphere of his life. He was no longer losing every day. He was winning in a way that didn't exhaust him. And for the first time, he began to suspect the truth Kenji never shouted, only planted. The way out was not through force. It was through gentle persistence, repeated until it became inevitable. Adrian expected the next phase to demand more intensity, because that is how change usually works in the modern world. People sell transformation like a fire. Burn the old you, rise in 30 days, become unstoppable, never relapse. But Kenji didn't build fires. He built lanterns, small lights you could carry on your worst nights without dropping them. The second month was not glamorous. That's how Adrian knew it might be real. He kept the water before the phone. He kept the smaller portion. He waited the 20 minutes. And something subtle happened. The habit didn't disappear, but it began to lose its authority. It was no longer a king. It was a visitor who had been given too much power. Now it had to knock. Kenji introduced the next step, the way you add one brick to a wall, quietly, without ceremony. After your water, he said, walk outside for 2 minutes. Not a workout, not a goal, 2 minutes. Then you can come back in. Adrian almost laughed. 2 minutes? That's nothing. Kenji nodded. Exactly. Nothing is what your resistance can tolerate. You are not training the body yet. You are training the return. The return. That phrase stayed in Adrian's mind. He had always tried to do heroic things. Run 5 miles, lift heavy weights, change his entire diet. But heroic things demand heroic energy, and heroic energy is rare when you're drowning in life. 2 minutes, however, was possible, even on miserable days. 2 minutes did not require motivation. It required obedience to a simple system. He began walking to the end of the driveway and back. The world felt cold at that hour. The air stung his lungs. But after the walk, something changed inside him. His mind quieted slightly, as if the body had remembered it was alive. On day 4, his son Leo saw him putting on shoes. "Where are you going?" Leo asked, half curious, half suspicious, like kids become when they've been disappointed too often. "Just a quick walk," Adrian said. Leo hesitated. "Can I come?" That was the moment Adrian felt the system turn into something else. He had been doing it for himself, but suddenly it wasn't just self-improvement. It was presence. He nodded. Leo pulled on sneakers and joined him. 2 minutes became 3 because Leo wanted to show him something. An interesting rock, a neighbor's cat, the way the morning light hit a window. It was all small, but it was real. And Adrian realized what he truly craved wasn't food or alcohol or the phone. He craved relief from emptiness. Those habits filled the emptiness with noise. This walk filled it with connection. At the next meeting, Kenji asked a question that made Adrian uncomfortable. "Why do you want to change?" "To lose weight," Adrian said automatically. Kenji didn't react. "That is a surface goal. Why do you want that?" Adrian searched for another answer. "So I can live longer." "Why do you want that?" Adrian's throat tightened. He pictured Leo. He pictured the airplane model on the floor, the door closing quietly, the look in his son's eyes when he learned not to ask. "I want to be there," Adrian said, and the words came out rough, like they had been trapped. "I want to actually be there." Kenji nodded. That is Ikigai, a reason that outlives mood. Motivation fades, purpose stays. Adrian expected purpose to feel like inspiration, like a burst of energy. Instead, it felt like clarity. A steady pressure in the chest that didn't scream but didn't leave. It changed how he experienced temptation. When he wanted to reach for the phone at night, he remembered Leo asking him to hold a piece for 10 seconds. When he wanted to pour another drink, he remembered the 2-minute walk and how his son's hand felt in his. The cravings didn't vanish, but now they had an opponent stronger than shame, meaning. And still, the system didn't pretend life would become smooth. That was another difference. Modern advice often assumes you can eliminate chaos. Kenji assumed chaos was guaranteed. He prepared Adrian for it. The stumble came during a work crisis. A project fell apart, blame started flying, and Adrian's supervisor humiliated him in front of others with a polite smile that somehow felt worse than yelling. Adrian went home carrying anger like a weight on his shoulders. His body begged for old relief. He wanted the drink. He wanted the food. He wanted the numbing scroll. He told himself he deserved it. He told himself one night wouldn't matter, and that night he did it. He fell into the old loop like it was a familiar bed. He ate too much. He drank. He watched meaningless videos until his eyes burned. Then he went to sleep with that empty, defeated feeling that used to define him. The next morning, the old pattern tried to finish the job. "Since you failed," it whispered, "give up completely. Don't do the water. Don't do the walk. Don't pretend. You're back to being who you are." Adrian stared at the glass by the bed and felt that inner battle begin. Not a battle for health, a battle for identity. He remembered Kenji's phrase, "train the return." That was the difference between people who change and people who don't. Not perfection, return. He drank the water anyway. It didn't feel heroic. It felt small and stubborn. Then he walked outside for 2 minutes, even though his mind argued the whole time. When he came back, he felt ashamed, but he also felt something else. Continuity. The line had not snapped. The system was still alive. When he met Kenji, Adrian confessed, "I messed up. I went back hard." Kenji didn't punish him with disappointment. He didn't even look surprised. "Did you drink the water the next morning?" "Yes." "Did you walk?" "Yes." Kenji nodded as if checking a measurement. "Then you didn't fail. You stumbled." Adrian stared at him. "What's the difference?" Kenji's voice stayed calm. "When you stumble, you return. When you fail, you stop returning." Then he introduced another philosophy, not as a concept, but as a lens. "Wabi-sabi," he said, "is the beauty of imperfection. In Japan, a cracked bowl is not thrown away. It is repaired with gold. The crack becomes part of the story. You are not meant to be flawless. You are meant to be resilient." Adrian felt something loosen inside him. The obsession with perfection, this hidden poison, began to drain. He realized he had been using perfection as an excuse to quit. If I can't do it perfectly, why do it at all? And that thought had killed every attempt. Kenji continued, "Now you will learn Gambaru. It means you endure, not with drama, not with rage. You endure because you know discomfort is temporary." Adrian expected Gambaru to mean pushing harder. Kenji meant the opposite. Gambaru meant holding the minimum when life was heavy. It meant protecting the system on bad days. Water before phone. Smaller portion. 20-minute wait. 2-minute walk. These were not impressive habits. But they were unbreakable when done correctly because they demanded almost nothing and yet changed everything over time. Weeks became months. Adrian's cravings softened. His weight began to shift slowly, but the deeper shift wasn't on the scale. It was in his reaction to setbacks. He stopped collapsing. He started returning. And in that return, he built something he had never had: trust in himself. One evening, he found Leo on the floor working on another model. Leo looked up and said, "Dad, can you help me?" Adrian sat down immediately. 10 seconds became 10 minutes. Leo talked while he worked. Adrian listened like a man who had been asleep and was finally waking. Later that night, Adrian reached for his phone out of habit, then paused. He didn't feel like he was resisting temptation. He simply felt that the old habit no longer fit the person he was becoming. Not because he was perfect, because he was returning. And that's what Kaizen really is. Not a burst of discipline. A quiet accumulation of identity, built through small promises kept when no one is watching. By the time 6 months had passed, Adrian's life looked almost the same from the outside. Same job, same neighborhood, same bills, same stress. That's the part people don't understand about real change. It doesn't always come with visible fireworks. Sometimes you transform in a room no one enters. Sometimes you rebuild yourself in moments no one applauds. But inside, the architecture had changed. Adrian, though, was no longer living on impulse. He was living on structure. And structure does something strange to the mind. It removes negotiation. There was no morning debate anymore about whether he would start today. Today had already started. The water was the start. The walk was the continuation. The smaller plate was the discipline. The 20-minute pause was the wisdom. The return after stumbling was the victory. Kenji began teaching Adrian with questions instead of instructions. "When do you crave the habit the most?" he asked. Adrian answered honestly. "At night. When the house is quiet. When I feel behind. Like I didn't do enough." Kenji nodded. "Then it is not hunger. It is an attempt to escape the feeling of being incomplete." That sentence hit Adrian hard because it described his entire adult life. He wasn't eating because he needed food. He was consuming because he wanted a break from the constant feeling that he was failing somewhere. Work, fatherhood, marriage, health, dreams. The habit was a small doorway out of that pressure. Kenji didn't tell him to close the doorway with force. He taught him to build a better doorway next to it. "Each habit you try to remove has a function," Kenji said. "If you remove it without replacing the function, your mind will invent another escape. So we do not destroy your comfort. We redesign it." The redesign was simple. A ritual that felt like relief but didn't damage him. A cup of tea. A shower with slower breathing. A 5-minute stretch. A journal where he wrote one honest sentence. "What am I trying to avoid right now?" The ritual wasn't impressive. It was gentle. It gave his mind a place to go when it wanted to run. This was where the philosophies began to weave together like strands of rope. Kaizen gave him the method, small steps. Hara Hachibu gave him moderation, stop before excess. Wabi-sabi gave him mercy, imperfection is allowed. Gambaru gave him endurance, keep returning. And Ikigai gave him direction, this is for the people you love and for the version of you that deserves to exist. Adrian noticed how his appetite changed when he ate more slowly. The 20-minute wait taught him that satisfaction arrives late. His stomach needed time to speak. He realized he had spent years eating like he was running from something. Now he practiced stopping at 80%. Not because it was a rule, but because it felt like respect. The body felt lighter, calmer. Sleep improved. Mornings became less violent. But then came a season that tested him. Not one bad day, many. His mother fell ill, and the family spiraled into appointments, worries, and that specific exhaustion that comes when you love someone and feel helpless. Adrian's old habits called him like an old friend. In the hospital parking lot, he felt the craving for the quick escape. He wanted to numb the fear. That night, he did not win perfectly. He ate too much. He scrolled longer than he should. The urge to pour a drink hovered like a shadow. He stood in the kitchen staring at the cabinet, feeling his old identity step forward. The defeated man. The man who collapses when life becomes heavy. Then another identity stepped forward too. The man who returns. He poured water into a glass and drank. He put the glass down, breathed, and did something Kenji had taught him without teaching it like a rule. He made the next choice smaller than the emotion. He walked outside for 2 minutes, even though it was late. The street was quiet. The air was cold. His mind screamed that it was pointless. But when he returned, the urge was weaker. Not gone, but weaker. And that was enough. Kaizen doesn't require instant purity. It requires a measurable shift. 1%. The next morning, he drank water before the phone. He did the 2-minute walk. He ate with the smaller portion. The crisis didn't end. His mother's health didn't magically improve. But Adrian's collapse pattern had been interrupted. He didn't spiral for weeks. He didn't declare, everything ruined. He returned. Kenji explained this in the simplest language possible. When pain enters your life, your habit tries to claim you. The question is not, will pain come? Pain will come. The question is, who returns after the pain? Adrian started seeing the system as armor. Not heavy armor that restricts movement, but light armor that protects the core. On the days when he felt strong, he could do more. Longer walks, better meals, earlier sleep. On the days when life felt like a storm, he did the minimum. But he did it every time. And that minimum kept the door open to the person he was becoming. One evening, Leo asked him something that Adrian will never forget. "Dad, are you going to stop again?" The question wasn't rude. It was innocent. It came from a child who had seen cycles. Adrian felt his throat tighten. He realized his son had been watching not just his failures, but his returns. Leo had seen him change in small ways. Little rituals, small walks, fewer excuses, more presence. Leo needed to know if the story was real. Adrian knelt and looked at him. "I might stumble," he said carefully, "but I'm not stopping." Leo stared, then nodded as if a weight had been lifted. That moment revealed the hidden truth behind habits. Change is not just personal. It becomes a legacy. Children don't learn from your speeches. They learn from your repetitions. Kenji later told Adrian something that made him see his life differently. Your family is not waiting for you to become perfect. They are waiting for you to be present. Presence is built through small returns. As months passed, Adrian's body changed gradually. He lost weight, yes, but more importantly, his posture changed. His eyes changed. The numbness faded. His wife noticed it first. Not the scale. The way he sat at the table instead of eating in front of the screen. The way he listened without drifting away. The way he asked Leo about school and actually stayed for the answer. And Adrian noticed something else. The temptation didn't feel like a monster anymore. It felt like an old pattern that didn't match his current life. The cravings that once felt unstoppable now felt negotiable. Not because he became stronger overnight, but because he became different slowly. That is what the Japanese philosophies do when combined as a system. They don't ask you to become a hero. They ask you to become consistent. And consistency, practiced long enough, becomes identity. Adrian's breakthrough didn't arrive as a sudden miracle. It arrived as a quiet realization on an ordinary day. The kind of day you would never highlight in a montage. He was washing dishes after dinner, and Leo was doing homework at the table. The television was off. The room was calm. His wife was reading. And Adrian noticed something almost shocking. He felt no urge to escape, no urgent need to numb, no itch to scroll, no hunger to overfill. He felt enough, not perfect, not euphoric, just steady. That's when he understood what Kenji had been building all along. The goal was never to break a habit like snapping a chain. The goal was to outgrow it, to become someone whose life no longer needed that escape. When Adrian went back to Kenji, he tried to explain it. "I didn't fight it," he said. "It just got quieter." Kenji nodded. That is the correct result. When you rely on willpower, you are always fighting. When you rely on system, you are always shaping. A shaped life leaves less space for poison. Kenji asked him to write 5 words on a page, not as theory, but as personal truth. Adrian wrote them slowly, as if carving them into wood. Purpose, small steps, moderation, acceptance, endurance. Kenji looked at the list. "Now translate them into what you actually do." Adrian spoke without rehearsing. "Purpose means I remember why I want to live differently. My son, my wife, my presence. Small steps means I do the tiniest habit daily, especially when I don't feel like it. Moderation means I stop before excess and I wait. Acceptance means I don't quit after an imperfect day. Endurance means I return even when life hits me." Kenji smiled. "You now own the system. It no longer belongs to me." Over the next year, Adrian applied the same system to more than food and screens. He applied it to procrastination at work, the habit of delaying hard tasks until panic forced him to act. Kenji taught him a Kaizen version of productivity. Start the task for 2 minutes. Not finish it. Not dominate it. Touch it. Begin. 2 minutes was enough to remove fear. The next day, 2 minutes again. Soon the hard tasks stopped feeling like monsters. They became objects on a table, manageable when approached steadily. Adrian also applied Harahachi-bu to his schedule, which sounds strange until you understand it. He stopped overfilling his day. He left 10% of space. He stopped saying yes to everything. He stopped living at 120% until collapse. He began to live at 80% and the remaining 20 became recovery. Sleep improved, patience improved, anger softened. Then, inevitably, life tested him again. It always does. There was a month where money got tight, where his mother's illness returned, where the old despair tried to crawl back into his chest. Adrian had a terrible weekend. He ate junk. He stayed up late. He felt that familiar shame. The old voice returned with its ancient script. See? It was all fake. But this time, Adrian didn't worship the voice, he observed it. Wabi-sabi gave him that gift, the ability to see imperfection without turning it into identity. On Monday morning, he drank water before the phone. He walked for 2 minutes. He served himself slightly less at lunch and waited. The system held. Gambaru held. The return held. And something remarkable happened. The relapse didn't become a spiral. It became a single imperfect weekend inside a larger consistent year. That's what people misunderstand when they chase perfection. They think the absence of relapse is the sign of success. In reality, the speed of return is the sign of success. One night, Leo found Adrian filling a glass of water before bed. "You still do that?" Leo asked. Adrian smiled. "Yeah." "Why?" Adrian could have explained neuroscience, habit loops, systems, philosophy. Instead, he told his son the simplest truth. "Because it reminds me I keep promises." Leo nodded slowly, absorbing it the way children absorb what becomes their future. The next morning, Adrian found a small glass on Leo's nightstand too, filled with water. Not because anyone forced him, because he had been watching. The legacy was already moving forward. Years later, Adrian kept a photo on his phone, not of his body, not of a before and after, not of any dramatic transformation. It was a picture of Leo's model airplane, finished and hanging from the ceiling. It reminded Adrian of the moment he failed to hold a piece for 10 seconds. And it reminded him that the most painful wake-up calls in life often arrive softly, like a child closing a door. Adrian started speaking to a few people at work who asked about his change. They expected some secret plan, a diet, a workout, a hack. He gave them the only secret that actually works. Pick the smallest promise, he told them. So small you feel stupid. Do it for 14 days. Don't add more. Prove you can keep a promise. Then add one more small thing. Most people laughed, exactly like Adrian did. Most people walked away, still chasing intensity, still hungry for a miracle that would spare them the slow work. But a few people returned. They came back after 2 weeks with a quiet look in their eyes, the look of someone who has kept a promise. Adrian recognized it immediately. It was the beginning of everything. And if you've been listening to this, if any part of it feels like it was written about you, then the message isn't that you need more information. You already know what's good for you. You know what you should stop. You know what you should start. The problem isn't knowledge. The problem is the way you try to change. You try to change too fast, too violently, too perfectly. You demand a new identity overnight, and when you can't maintain it on a stressful day, you collapse and call it proof that you're broken. But you're not broken, you're human, and humans change the way forests grow, slowly, quietly, one season at a time. So here's the system, in the simplest possible form, the same way Kenji gave it to Adrian. Find your ikigai, your real reason, the one that makes you feel something in your chest when you think about it. Not a shallow goal like lose weight, but a living reason like I want to be present for my family, or I want to respect myself again. Then choose Kaizen. 1 microscopic habit. 1. A glass of water before the phone. 2 minutes of walking. 1 minute of breathing. Something so small your excuses look ridiculous. Then, apply Harahachibu. Stop before you go too far. Don't overfill your plate, don't overfill your day. Wait. Let the body catch up. Let the mind calm down. Then use wabi-sabi. When you stumble, don't throw the whole journey away. The crack doesn't ruin the bowl. The crack becomes part of the story. And finally, Gambaru. Endure. Return. Protect the minimum. Especially on the days you feel like quitting. Because those are the days that build identity. If you want a dramatic sign, you won't get one. The sign will be quieter. It will be the moment you realize you didn't negotiate with yourself in the morning. You just did the habit. It will be the day you stumble and return without collapse. It will be the night your child asks to spend time with you and you say yes without looking at a screen first. It will be the calm feeling of knowing you are no longer living at the mercy of impulse. And if you want to start today, don't start big. Start microscopic. Choose one promise so small you can't hide behind excuses. Do it for 14 days. Then come back to yourself and ask honestly, can I add one more small thing? That's how change becomes permanent. Not by force, by accumulation, not by perfection, by return, not by motivation, by identity. And the most important truth of all is this: time will pass whether you change or not. In 5 years, you will still be here, looking at the same mirror, living in the same body, carrying the same habits, unless you begin the smallest step now. Not tomorrow, not on Monday. Now, because the system doesn't start when you feel ready. It starts when you decide to stop negotiating your life away and instead begin building it, one quiet choice at a time.